Welcome to the Mind-Bending Language Deck. I want to congratulate you on getting what I believe is probably the most powerful form of hypnosis that we currently have. It's definitely the most powerful form of covert hypnosis using language. And I'm very excited to bring this to you today because it's been years in the making. This powerful form of language will allow you to close sales more easily, help people in coaching or therapeutic environments in a dramatic and very fast way. You can help people make personal and creative breakthroughs. In other words, anytime the mind is stuck, whether it's stuck on a no, or it's stuck in a bad place, or it's stuck on a creative level, you can get it unstuck and move it so much further than you can ever possibly imagine right now. Now, mind-bending language didn't appear out of nowhere. The things that you're learning here on this audio program in these deck of cards is based upon the work of a man called John Overduff, without whose revolutionary insights none of this would have been possible. And I'm excited to present to you the deck here today because it has revolutionized the way we learned mind-bending language. In the past, very few people got to the point of actually mastering this system because it was such a complex and difficult to do thing. With the new mind-bending language deck, you've now got the secret that will allow you to simply, easily, and quickly master the mind-bending language so you can use it anytime, any place, anywhere. This deck is so easy to use that a 12-year-old child in school could easily master mind-bending language just by doing the exercises that we've prepared for you on this audio program. The mind-bending language deck is designed to make something which could be very complex and difficult to achieve an absolute breeze to do. And all you have to do is follow the exercises that I'll be laying out for you during the course of these recordings that accompany the mind-bending language deck. Please listen on to the next track where I walk you through step by step the entire set of recordings that go with the cards so that you understand what you'll be getting, how to use the cards, how to get the best out of your training, and ultimately how to get yourself as quickly and easily as possible to the position where you're using the most advanced and powerful form of hypnotic language that is currently available. If you will allow me, I'd like to guide you step by step to the point where you master this language for yourself. And all you have to do is just sit back, relax, and enjoy listening as these audios guide you step by step through the entire sequence so you can go to a level of mastery that far exceeds what most people are capable of. I'd like to take a few moments now to take you through step by step this entire audio program and how it's going to help you to master mind-bending language. On the very next track, I prepared for you a very special crash course in hypnosis. This is primarily for those of you who are less familiar with hypnosis as a field, to give you an understanding of what mind-bending language is based on. Remember, in advanced covert hypnosis, which the mind-bending language system allows you to do, we're still performing the regular things that any hypnotist must do in order to achieve hypnosis. The only difference is we're achieving it quicker, more elegantly, and much more covertly. So, if we're still using hypnosis, even though it's advanced and more covert, it becomes very useful to understand how hypnosis works and what it really is. So in the next track on this CD, you'll discover a crash course in hypnosis so that you can understand the essence of what makes it work, including the all-important ABS formula, which makes understanding hypnosis very easy and performing hypnosis even easier to do. Then, on the next CD, we'll begin with a discussion of overt versus covert hypnosis, direct versus indirect hypnosis. These are the four essential styles of hypnosis that exist, each one of which has a particular strength and also a particular weakness. When you understand the difference between overt and covert hypnosis, the difference between direct and indirect hypnosis, and you appreciate which one can be used where in a very powerful sort of way, you'll have much more choice as to where to apply mind-bending language and where a different tool might be more useful to you. You'll also discover why mind-bending language is so flexible, because it really is useful in situations where other styles don't work out so well. Next, we'll come on to a very important section that talks about the mindset or the philosophy behind mind-bending language. There is a simple pattern of how the mind perceives the world. And by understanding this and switching it around, you can create mind-bending moments anytime, any place, anywhere. You'll be able to do it with any kind of language or with no language at all. And the key to this all is understanding how the mind perceives the world and how mind-bending language can interact with that perception and change it. Next, we'll get a little bit more scientific. We're going to start looking at the actual brain and the mechanisms inside the brain that allow us to make powerful changes very quickly. We'll look very briefly in a very simple way at those parts of the brain that are being affected during mind-bending language maneuvers and why it'll help us to get people unstuck from their thinking, to change their emotions, or to change the way they consider a situation, change a decision that's been so-called made up already. Again, this will form a crucial understanding in your mind-bending language or advanced COVID hypnosis system, because it'll show you what you're trying to achieve so you strategically can apply whatever you need to do in order to get the result that you want. Next, on CD3, we're going to focus exclusively on exercises and making the system practical. We'll show you how to use the mind-bending language deck with different kinds of exercises designed for different kinds of situations. We'll also introduce you to some of the powerful persuasion formulas so that you can use this in practical, everyday scenarios. We'll show you how the different decks prepare you to be using this stuff in the real world with real people in the situations where you need to use this, so that by the time you get out there and start doing it with real people, you'll not only have the language skills, you'll only have the insights and understandings, but you'll also know what to do and when to do it so that you can become more influential than you've ever been before. Next, we'll start going through all of the decks, all the cards, one by one. Starting with CD4, which looks at the first deck and the first suit, the identity suit within that deck. We'll look at all the cards in that suit, how they work, why they work, and giving you examples of how that first suit and that first deck really works and give you an experience of it in action too. So you'll be able to listen along to it, having the experience for yourself. You'll be able to hear someone else have the experience and their reactions to it. So it's almost like being in the group whilst you're doing it yourself. And you'll also get the chance to actually play with the language, understanding some nuances as to why we use certain words versus others. Next, on CD5, we'll repeat the same process, but for the second suit of the first deck. This is the space suit. This is the suit that looks at things that are related in space as opposed to time or anything else. Again, we're going to go through each card one by one. With each one, you'll get an example of it in action. You'll hear it, you'll feel it, and you'll even hear someone else be taken through the process and their reactions afterwards. So by the end of that particular CD, you'll understand exactly how the spacesuit works and how to work it. Then on CD6, we'll move on again, onto the third suit of the first deck. This is the time suit. And again, we're going to go through all the examples, card by card, analyzing each one, discussing each one, demonstrating each one, so you get to experience it for yourself again, and again, have someone else go through the process and get some feedback from that. CD 7 and 8 deal with the fourth and fifth suit respectively. These are the energy and the matter suits. And just like with the other suits, you're going to be going through each card step by step, getting experiences, getting demonstrations, and having discussions of how each one is built up and why certain things have been created in there. As your experience with these cards is already starting to grow, we can go into more and more detail as to the language, why it's there, what effect it's creating, and how to create your own versions of this. By the time you finish this 8th CD, you'll fully understand mind-bending language and all the maneuvers you can do within it, you'll begin to develop an instinct for it. And that instinct is what's going to make this very easy to do. Then, we'll move on to CD9. After a short introduction into the second deck, we'll launch straight into the first suit of that second deck, the spacesuit. Whereas the first deck focused on giving you predefined language things, maneuvers to take yourself through to already experience it and make mind-bending language easy for you to do. This second deck is all about going freestyle. Instead of having pre-formed patterns for you to play with and to experience, we've presented to you special mind-bending power words, which will allow you to have that impact in any context, in any situation, in any conversation. You'll be able to slip those in anytime, any place, anywhere, and with anyone. So, CD9 focuses on the spacesuit, which is the first one in the system that we've talked about. Then, on CD10, we'll go on to the second suit, the time suit. And just as with all the other suits, all the other decks, we'll be walking through each suit, each card, one by one. We'll show you how it works. We'll show you why it works. We'll put the different cards together to give you a sense of the impact you can have when you start combining some of these approaches. Then at CD11, we'll move again onto the next suit, the third suit called the energy suit. This is all about energy predicates. And again, we'll walk you through it one by one, each of the power words, how it works, why it works, demonstrating it so you can sense it in action, feel it in action, hear other people's reactions to it, so you really begin to develop an instinct for it. Of course, as we continue through this process, we'll also be introducing you to more advanced exercises that you can do, and at this stage, they should become increasingly easy for you, because by now, you'll be very familiar with the language and those concepts as well. Then, on CD12, we finish up the second deck by talking about the final suit in deck 2. This is the matter suit. And just like space, time, and energy, we'll walk through it step by step, showing you all the nuances of how to use it, when to use it, where to use it, and the impact that you're having. Next, we move on to CD13. This begins the third and final deck in the Mind-Bending Language Deck series. In this deck, we're going to be starting with the first suit, the Awareness suit. This deck focuses on the strategy behind all mind-bending language, giving you dozens of maneuvers of different ways of thinking and doing things so that you can impact on other people, so that you can use mind-bending language and create mind-bending moments anytime, any place, anywhere, and do so elegantly that most people, even regular hypnotists, will have no idea what you are doing. The first suit is discussed on CD13. This is the awareness suit. This teaches you the fundamental idea behind all mind-bending language. When you understand the concepts in this suit, you'll be able to use mind-bending language. You'll be able to do advanced covert hypnosis even without using a single word. You'll be able to create the exact same experiences, the exact same profound trances, and unstick people's minds without even having to speak, because you'll understand that language is just one very useful way of maneuvering through people's minds. Now, before you get too excited, I'm not talking about any kind of psychic influencing skills. If that is possible, well then that's outside of the range of this particular program. What I'm talking about here is to use everything else in your environment, your gestures, your body language, your tonality, everything another person is capable of perceiving without using words, so that you can still influence them with a look, a gesture, or something as simple as a smile. Next, on CD14, we'll turn to time in a different way than we've covered before. Up until this point, we'll be looking at time only as part of the system's predicates and how different words can navigate and orient people through time. In this suit, on CD14, we're going to be looking at time in a very precise way, how you can navigate to people through pinpoint moments in time. This will be the secret to be able to create conversational regressions and to understand how to use time to either lock people's minds around an idea